When the new pastor moved into the area with children the same age as ours, we thought it would be great to get together for a picnic some night. It was a great idea. A lousy night. It was awkward, strained, and not without its share of conflict. But it was enlightening in many, many aspects. I remember at one point the children were gathered together having an intense discussion about authority. Namely, who in your family wears the pants? Carl, being the oldest in our family, spoke up for us. He said, "That's easy. It's Dad." "Well, how do you know?" "It's clear. When Dad puts his hand down, it's over. Discussion's done. A ruling has been made. Dad's got the authority." I never knew. I wouldn't have guessed it, that I had that kind of authority. And that's because authority is not something we claim. It's not something we go after. But it's something that we are given by others. It's bestowed upon us. It's an important piece to remember as we talk about authority these days. That authority is a gift offered by others, not a possession to exploit. Authority is an issue today, as it was for Jesus. Jesus was constantly being questioned, "By whose authority do you do these things?" Right off the bat, in the early chapters of Mark's Gospel, Jesus shows up at a synagogue in Capernaum, the seat of authority, the house of the law, the Torah. And there he teaches. And the people that are gathered there on that morning are astounded because he teaches with an authority unlike the scribes and the Pharisees. Where did he come to get this authority? We know, because we were there at his baptism. We know that his authority comes from God. We heard the voice from heaven. But those gathered there that morning were not privy to our experience. And so they wondered. To drive home the point, Jesus then exorcises a demon from a man that is there at the synagogue. Now, we must be clear that in the Gospels, rarely is a miracle story just a miracle story. It is often used by the Gospel writers to drive home a point, lest Jesus become just another magician. And heaven knows there were enough of those running around in Jesus' day. Jesus comes and exorcises a demon. It points, as often, to how sometimes it's easier to exorcise or to heal the physical versus the sickness that exists between us. Here in the midst of the synagogue, the house of the law, Jesus exorcises the demon. But he also comments on the Pharisees and the scribes, for they too have become demons of sort. They've turned the law into something that is oppressive, divisive, and no longer compassionate. It has driven wedges, set up boundaries, marked territory, defined people in ways that are inhumane. all in the name of social convention and the law. As we follow Jesus throughout Mark's gospel, as he wanders the countryside, we find him continually messing with these boundaries that the authorities have set up. Always reminding that the law is there to unite, to bind together, to protect. And so he's continually wandering between those boundaries between male and female, between the races like Jews and non-Jews, between the clean and the unclean. In each of the miracles that Jesus does in the Gospels, the end result is not only a physical healing, but a restoration to community. For that is the purpose of his coming, to unite, to heal, and to make whole. It's important for us to recognize how hard it is to do that work when we're talking about interpersonal relationships. Sometimes it is easier to heal the body than that relationship. We are living in the midst of a pandemic, but as the vaccine is beginning to roll out, as insufficiently as it is, there is hope that in the end, we can put behind us COVID-19. But there is another sickness that is occupying much of our attention these days. It is the divisions that have been created. Divisions of all sorts, not just political, but racial, gender-based, economic, church. They are insidious. They are everywhere, in our communities, our nations, our churches, our families. Never before has there been a need for healing. And that will come only from the one who gives authority. And he has given it to us to heal. It was a role that St. Francis took upon himself, felt called to do, to be an instrument of God's peace, wholeness. May we too find that role to be our authority. There is a balm in Gilead to make the wounded whole. There is a balm in Gilead to heal the sin-sick soul. Sometimes I feel discouraged and think my work's in vain. But then the Holy Spirit revives my soul again. There is a balm in Gilead to make the wounded whole. There is a balm in Gilead to heal the sin-sick soul.